Here by Ian Johnson. I'm Scott Rain, and Ian, you've been here from the very beginning. Once I think it was last Friday or Saturday. What have you been able to take in this whole scenario right now? But these are your guys.
Yeah, you know, this is honestly one of my favorite races out here in Hammertown. Today is the race. It's the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge. We have the Yukon Gear and Axle 4500 modified class, a class that's just fun to watch. You have the Spider Tracks 4600 stock class, and then the 4800 Brannick Motorsports Legends class. A great mix of cars, and what's super cool this year is we had qualifying this year for these guys, which we've had just a couple days ago. So now these guys are going to lead the line in mixed fashion. So they're lined up on the line. We're going to see some 4500 cars and some 4800 cars lead the line at the same time. It's going to be a great day of racing all day long right here live from Hammertown.
And that's what's going to be really tricky. All these classes are intertwined within each other, so it's not going to be one class going out at one time in one session and another class going to another session.
Absolutely. You know, I think what's super cool about the Everyman Challenge race is these are the true privateers in this race course. These are the guys working in the garage, building their cars, bringing them out here onto the lake bed. I know a lot of these guys. I'm in a lot of these guys' garages with them, helping out on their rigs. You know, I'm just looking out here. I see a lot of friends of mine in this race, which I think is awesome. This truly is the Everyman Challenge, and it's going to be great today.
You know, I kind of venture this is to the point where, you know, some people or some families are country club members. Some guys like to fish with their families. It's what they do. This is what these guys do. They are racers. They live and breathe in the garages at night after their 8-hour, 10-hour, 12-hour jobs. They're in the garage afterwards.
All you have to do is look around. Everyone on this lake bed is a racer, even up in the high class in the 4400. Everyone is still a full-time worker type guy. You know, there are only a few full-time race drivers in this sport. The majority of the people in this sport still work all day and work on the cars all night. That's the beauty of Ultra 4 racing.
Well, we just had our first pairing take off the line, and we are just intertwined. We've got a line of cars side by side all the way through Hammertown, kind of winding their way up towards eventually getting their way to their starting line. So we'll probably, I'm going to guess, for the next 45 minutes, we'll be starting every 30 seconds with cars coming up the line.
Yeah, it's going to be two cars off the line side by side every 30 seconds apart approximately, just for a little bit of safety. And you'll see that the reason they do that is so those cars get stretched out in that desert loop. The cool thing is we're going to see mixed classes leaving here. You're going to see the Legends class, the 4800, and you're going to see the modified class rolling out as well. Stock class will leave after all of these guys. And these guys qualified earlier for these positions, and this is a key position for a lot of these guys in this race. And this is going to be a great battle up to that first pit through that big desert loop.
You know, I don't want to call these guys hobbyists because that's far from it, but when it comes to this class, everyone talks about the 4400s, and we'll call them the pros, and the strategies involved. Even though it's only a 2-lap race, the strategies. Well, these guys got strategies as well.
Yeah, there's just as much strategy involved, and you know, the 4800 class is growing bigger and bigger and bigger every year, almost probably getting bigger than the 4400 class. So, you know, these guys are out there battling it out, and it's just going to be a great day.
And one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that once again the weather will be playing a factor. It was 28 degrees I think we showed up here this morning, and big stiff wind. Once again, I'm going to guess probably about 30, 35 mile an hour consistent winds with gusts of almost 50. But you know what? These guys are all prepared. We've had fans in front of the stage. I've showed up at 6:30 this morning, and there was 2 ladies wrapped up in their snowmobile suits and blankets sitting in the chairs waiting for this whole thing to start this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Tribe 16 car on the line. Matt Howell in that Tribe car. Adam Shearer will be riding with him in that. And the Lovels leave the line right there. Hammertown royalty.
Our next pairing up the line is Darren Doucette and Jimmy Jack in the 45-64 and the 63.
Wind playing havoc here in Hammertown this morning. You can see those flags buffering. Good and bad with that, you know. It's a little bit cold, but at the same time, it's going to keep all that dust moving off the track as these guys headed on this first desert loop.
Our next two off the line is Darren Fresh and Wade Coleman in the 88 and the 48-83.
Logan Goodall off the line. Michael Kiesling and Andrew Gorman on the line, ready to take off on the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge race. You know, when you tear off onto this short course section side by side like this, it's a full-on drag race. It's just so much fun.
You think there'll become a day, Ian, we'll see you out on the course with one of your builds that we see on TV, possibly? On one of your shows, huh?
You never know.
Man, our racers are still lined up.
Arturo Soria and Jade Wickham will be leaving the line next side by side. Two 4800s class cars. Legends class, they call that. Huge class this year for the 2019 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge. You can see them tear out of Hammertown, take that first jump side by side.
Matt Long and Justin Day off the line next as they accelerate down the short course, the 48-96, and Justin Day in the 23.
Next two cars up was exactly what I was talking about earlier. We have John Grounds in a 4500 car and Dave Schneider in a 4800 car. These are two different classes, but they qualified, so they're able to leave the line at the same time, qualifying right beside each other. Right there. Yep. Yeah, you can definitely see that 4800 car getting well ahead of him.
Jimmy Lewis in the 0 and Cody Young in the 48-62 now take the green flag.
Still tons of cars here lined up in Hammertown ready to hit the course. Not even halfway
There's
through
no
the
end of the
starting
line,
grid.
Ian. At least not yet.
Next off the line, Steven Adams and David Norwood. Ready to go out and battle it on that first desert loop.
The next two taking the green flag to start their long day of racing is the 4839 of Earl Christie and the 4437 of Dustin Sexton.
Taryn Hollerwick and Don Radke next off the line. Another split group here, a 4500 and a 4800. You can see the 4800 car just stretch its legs on that 4500.
Our next two actually will be the 41st and 42nd cars to take off from the starting line. Jesse Lee in the 4819 and Joy Simone in the 21.
Mike Stokes and Jeff Hatamaki leaving the line next. Two more 4800 class cars. Side by side through the short course. This has got to be probably one of the best parts of the day.
Our 45th and 46th cars off the line. Next two will be Chance Holloman and Mike Johnson, the 4832 and the 43. Well, you can see the lower right-hand portion of the screen. For some of the guys out there right now, the race is well underway, and should I say clean air or just plain old cold air out there on the course?
Well, the best part about this race is going to be that clean air, especially in this big desert loop section, headed up to that first pit. You can actually see the dust still kicking up from that car. It's a huge player in this game. You want that clean air no matter what. Even in this class, honestly, especially in this class, you've got mixed classes of cars. You've got cars that can run incredibly fast in certain sections and cars that run a little bit slower. So you want to be out. That's why qualifying was so important for these guys. No questions asked. And they're out in the desert. They're already racing. And we still have piles of cars lined up here in Hammertown ready to start.
Yeah, they're intertwined all the way through. Manufacturers Midway is what I've been calling it. And we can't even see. We're nowhere near the end of the line in sight yet.
No, we have a lot of starters today to get through.
There's Hoover.
Next off the line car, 4808, Jimmy Johnson, and 4597, Mitch Hoover. That's our 53rd and 54th car to start. There are 200 cars to leave the line, 226 actually to leave the line today.
Nate Williams and Peter Fierro, the next two off the line in the 45-30 and the 45-39.
Battling it out through that short course. So much fun going side by side like this. That's why I love this start of this race. Tom Liu, Cody St. Clair, another mixed start. We have a 4,800 and a 4,500 leaving the line. Scott, a lot of people, we were talking about this morning, a lot of people who watch this particular form of racing are used to these classes that we're talking about all the time, the 45, the 48, the 44, and the 46. But for those of you watching at home who maybe aren't diehard fans of Ultra 4 racing, I got a little cheat sheet up here just to get through. It's pretty simple. You know, you've got basically the Yukon Gear and Axle 4500 modified class. Those vehicles have to have a stock frame or aftermarket frame that looks like a stock frame, so a box style frame. It has to resemble an OEM production vehicle. Any transmission and engine combination is allowed, but it has to retain some sort of manual steering. That's the biggest difference between the 4500 and the 4800 Legends class. The 4800 Legends class, those guys, that class was originally started for what we'd call old Ultra 4 cars. Single shock per corner, but they do get the full hydraulic steering. They have to run a DOT non-sticky compound tire, not over 37 inches in height. And then the last class that's going to leave the line today is our 4600 stock class, and that's just like it sounds. That vehicle must retain as much stock factory equipment that it can, and has to still look like a stock vehicle, and that's actually a fun class to watch all day long.
Well, my question for you is this, with multiple classes on the course at one time, obviously some classes are faster than others, so when you're in the wide open area of the desert, there's got to be a speed factor that you can come up on a car that might be slower than you, so you have to really be aware.
Well, you know, honestly, we used to think that, you know, and I think when they started these classes, that was the theory, right? You were going to have a class that would definitely move faster than another class. But then we saw it last year. Jessi Combs in a stock vehicle finishes 3rd overall, wins her class in a 4500 car. She has a stock JK, still had tilt steering and air conditioning, and she crosses the line 3rd overall, takes the podium in her class. It really is up to the driver and the day. This race truly is anyone's race any day of the week, especially in this class. And that's why qualifying is so important for these guys. You end up with a mixed start, those 4800s and those 4500s. Some of those 4500 cars are just flat out fast. Sean McBride ready to leave the line delivering pizzas. I can respect that.
Just a quick rundown of some of the drivers we may have missed that have taken the green flag. We've got Dave Oliver has gone out a few moments ago. Chris Brown, John Williams, Jason Ray, Chris Ashton, Steve Moore. They have all taken the green flag. They're on the course. Curtis Harriman, David Shields, Chris Borwick. We've got Croy out on the course right now. Sean McBride, Justin Hall just took off a moment ago. Corey Burge as well as Vaughn Neville are out on the course as well.
Kevin Stearns, Mike Miller on the line. All right, Mike Miller, Jesse Balter on the line. Two 4,500 cars. They did not, they DNF'd in their qualifier or skipped qualifying, so they were randomized. Luck of the draw start here.
Our 77th and 78th entries at the starting line, ready to take the green flag, are Rick Lavizo and Keith Ratzberg in the 45-49 and the 48-21.
Daniel Sack, John Lay ready to tackle the desert this morning.
Ian, you got a few hours, just a few, behind the wheel of an off-road vehicle. What's it like, do you think, for some of these guys that are kind of well back in the line? You know, have been sitting here probably for a good hour at least in staging, and now still waiting to take the green flag.
I did not have a good starting position whenever I raced King of the Hammers, and that was just sort of because back then it was a luck of the draw type of thing. And it's fun, and at the same time you're just you're anticipating the race. You're sitting back here, you're in your car. All you want to do is get out there and race. That's it. And you're stuck in here in Hammertown. You hear them take off. You're hearing us talking. You're hearing the announcers announcing what's happening out there. And then you find out, if you're here where we're sitting right now, you can look up, you can actually watch the big screen, and you're seeing guys out there in the desert. It can get unnerving because you're thinking, all those guys are so far ahead of me. But the important thing to remember is this is a time race. You're racing the clock. You are racing other people out there, but it's corrected time racing. So you could start 20, 30 minutes back. If you make up that time and finish, you'll win.
Well, just a moment ago, Chris Pierce and Richard Fenton took the green flag, and right now at the line, Bailey Cole and Michael Trabino are side-by-side ready to take the green flag. Man, Bailey really nailed the throttle at the start through the short course area. Put out quite the advantage before they head out onto the desert portion.
Yeah, no question. Bailey Cole definitely old hat to this racing. Lyndon Shepherd, Chad Howell about to leave the line. That's our 85th and 86th starting car today. We still have to get all the way through to number 226.
Yeah, we'll be finishing just about the same time the last. No, I'm just kidding.
Ross Glaze on the line, ready to leave. Bart Stein and Randall Holmes ready to leave the line. Daniel Crawford ready to take his green flag and start his long day out in the desert. Travis Riley Sr. and Ron Hemmingson leaving the line.
Michael DeVore and Jacob Peak are next two off the line. It's not getting any warmer, Ian. Sun's out, but it ain't getting any warmer, brother.
It is a cold morning here in Hammertown, but you know what? It's going to be a great day of racing, no questions asked.
Yeah, at least my sunglasses quit fogging up. Defrosting. Thomas Hart now at the line. I love that shot, Ian, where the cameraman gets right in the cockpit and you can see the drama, just the intensity of these drivers right before they take the green flag. Joseph Bonchier, the other driver to take the green flag. As you can see them on course right now, just about 100 yards into their, how many miles is this actually?
Forad Kuza and Jason Ray ready to leave the line. And as those cars leave the line, that is the end of our 4,500 and 4,800 class out on the course. And now it's time to start, I would say, one of my favorite classes. This is the 4,600 stock class, and the first vehicle to line up is a truck that we saw in qualifying the other day that kind of blew a few minds.
I think everybody's mind, man.
That's right. We have Eric Miller behind the wheel with some air-conditioned and heated seats, apparently.
Also heated steering wheel.
And it's a good idea to have a heated steering wheel this morning.
He was playing a satellite radio with his hand on the steering wheel, all nice and warm, toasty, and he's like, not a problem.
I would absolutely take advantage of that on a morning like today. Right
John Schaefer and John Snell next up the line in the 4688 and the 4671. So evidently, Eric's going to be driving the Gladiator for the first portion of the race. Then Robbie Gordon's going to jump in.
That's
what
I believe on
the desert portion.
Yep.
We'll see if we can get through that Gladiator through that portion after Robbie's behind the wheel, and then I guess
it says a lot to have Jeep throw that brand new vehicle out here and let the Savvy crew prep it and get it ready to race. It'll be fun to watch it all day.
I think Savvy boys are going to be kind of sweating when Robbie behind the wheel. Hopefully. They'll be together, and we'll put Eric back in the wheel behind, and he'll finish it in later on this afternoon. So Christopher Dioria and Daniel May Applegate are next two. Bill Schultz and Michael Justo are next two.
Jessi Combs off the line, someone that we did not see in qualifying. I was kind of surprised. I ran into her this morning while I was getting my coffee, and I asked her, and she said, we just spent our time prepping the car. We wanted to get a little bit more time getting it ready for this race. She had hoped to be in the 4,400 class this year, but her ride fell through, so she quickly fell back into that stock class car, the Savvy prep car that she's had for so long. So this is sort of like a plan B for her. So they had to quickly prep that car, so they took her qualifying time and decided to prep it. That's the car that won the class last year and finished third overall. So she'll be battling hard all day to get through the race.
You can see right now up on this Jumbotron for all the fans back at home that are watching a live, just a moment ago, a live drone shot.
Next off the line is Dawson Allington. All right, in the bottom right-hand corner, we can see our current physical leader, which is Levi Shirley. Jumped that back into that 4800 Legends car to come out here and have some fun. Could be using it as a pre-run for the big race.
Craig Honnell in the 4639 was our next car off the line.
See him picking his way through that single-track desert section. No stranger to racing here at the Hammers, Levi is. Got a lot of experience and will be putting it to work today. Alex McNeil and Charles Black ready to leave the start line in our 4600 stock class. Love watching these stock class cars roll through Hammertown. There's just so many different cars. You've got Jeeps, you've got Toyotas, you've got Cherokees. You got a little bit of everything out here, and it's awesome.
And what's neat about this too, Ian, is that the fans are here just to watch and take this whole environment in. Walk the pits. You can walk the entire pit area, meet some of these drivers, some of these teams, and see some of the most unusual, we'll call them race cars, you're going to find anywhere on the planet.
Sometimes they even share beer with you, I find. Or coffee, depending on the day.
Justin Reese off the line in the 4619.
John Makowitz and Albert Contreras about to leave the line. Ken Carter and Josh Atterbury, a couple North Carolina boys, made the big trip all the way out here.
The 4655 of Vince Blass is at the line right now.
Just a few more cars to get off the line, and then we'll be deep into racing all day long here from Johnson Valley. There's one car I can see on those wide shots that I've been waiting to see leave the line all day. I was hoping to see it in qualifying, but I did not see it in qualifying. But I can see Jessie Haynes getting ready to leave the line.
Tom Cornelius is at the line in the 4609.
Look at that car, or truck, I should say. See, that's just cool. Plus, that takes commitment. You know that that truck is not coming back with the majority of those body panels.
Isn't that neat? Man.
And I respect that.
Johnny Harper Jr. in the 4689. I'm sorry, the 4686 is at the line.
This is a long day in the Hammers in a stock class, I'll tell you that. But man, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, you say that because you're up here.
No, I've been out there.
Your kidneys are bouncing around the side.
It's amazing. The problem is it's addictive. Yeah. Back every year.
Did your wife give you any rules or regulations upon you coming here this week?
No.
No?
No.
So you got a wide open checkbook.
I was looking at that, I think it was the Ben Napier old car, but instead I'll buy a house.
David Ball taking the green flag. One of our cars out there now.
All right, this is the vehicle that I've been wanting to watch all day long. This is Jessi Haynes. This is the Mahindra Roxor. We'll call it a Jeepish car. So this is basically, everyone who's seen a Roxor, a Mahindra Roxor, it looks like a side-by-side. Jessi took it, has like kind of a classic CJ5 look, put his portal axles in it, all custom leaf spring suspension. That car is going to be one that I want to see in the rocks with Jessi behind the wheel. It is going to be tons of fun to watch. Little diesel engine in it, manual transmission.
In the lower right-hand portion of the screen, you see the live heli shot. We believe that's Casey Gilbert. I believe he's the overall on-course leader right now.
So right now that's our physical first leader. Now that does not mean he's leading the race. He's just physically in front of everyone else, because we just saw the last car leave the line right now, which was, well, how many minutes is it after that? We started at 7:55. It's, you know, it's just about 35, 40 minutes gap between the leader and the last car to leave the line. So there is a lot of time that you got to stretch your legs and get ahead of everyone else. Physical lead is good. Winning's even better.